back to the channel of Pro Enzo Vidz, and this is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 63. We are back tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and this should be a great show coming up. And joining me tonight is regular co-host, as always, All Out Champa, and special guest on the channel again, Hainsey. So should be a big show. Obviously, no podcast last week due to some reasons that I guess some would know, maybe some won't, but we're back anyway, and it should be a good show tonight. But I'll start with you first, Hainsey. Good to have you back on the channel. And yesterday, last night, I should say, was interesting, wasn't it?
I was going to say, before I jump on, is there any mention about yesterday? I'm walking out, so.
Sorry, I had to mention it.
Yeah, I knew you would. No. Yeah, thanks for having me back, mate. It's always good to be Yeah, g'day, Champa. G'day, everyone. Look, it was a great game of footy yesterday. Look, we came up a bit short. Maybe another 5 minutes we would have got over the line. But look, at the end of the day, it was a good game of footy, and well done to you boys. Just guys put your nose in front at the right time.
Yeah, well, look, it was an important game for both clubs, I think, and obviously myself being there was just huge to get a win like that. But I knew Roosters were gutsy. Like I had a feeling that Roosters would still turn up, and without players like all their big names and stuff, I still thought Roosters would still give us a fight, which they did, and but thankfully we pulled through, so our season's still alive. But that was a good game last night. So I think kudos to both teams. I feel like
definitely. You go
on. And Champa, as always, bro, good to have you back on the channel. But mate, the Tigers, I just don't understand it. Oh no, I set him off. I set him off.
Mate, if I see one person walking down my street with a Tigers jersey, I'm throwing paint directly at his head. Right. Thanks for having me on again, Lorenzo. Hainsey, thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. Thanks for
tuning in. Champa, anytime, my friend.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Obviously, I have not recovered through the weekend. 74-0, Jesus Christ. I don't know how much lower this team can get. As you see, I'm trying to force a smile on my face, and I just want to Other than that, I'm going to do a podcast. Let's get on the way.
That's right, Champa. That's right. This is your cue off from Saturday night, so hopefully it works out well. But look, we've got a good show coming up, full of topics and full of things to get through about the week that it was and stuff like that. So a highly anticipated show. But go for the live chat, see who's turned up and who's here for tonight. Got CJ, got Haynes in the chat too.
I'm in the chat. Hey guys.
Yeah, good to see Daniel Sexton, Jason Reader, evening, Liam Pritchard, Will, and Cody Gaines PlayStation as well. So good to see a good crowd turn up, and 9 people currently watching in the live chat. So thanks to everyone that's tuning in tonight. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel and subscribe to both All Out Champas and Hainsey's channel as well. Both are linked in the description down below. So do not neglect the fact you should subscribe to them if you haven't already, because if you do, bad things will happen, and you might have to reinforce life.
Your team will lose 74-0 every week if you don't subscribe to both our channels.
Oh God, don't get me started.
The Tigers started that curse, so you got to subscribe to both channels right now. But in saying that, we've got a podcast to get through, so let's get through it. Let's go. All right. As always, we start with our round 18 review of the week it was. Going to change to round 18, and there we go. Yep. So basically, a quick brief thoughts about the round it was, and look, it was a boring round because of all these big results that happened. But Champa, I'll start with you first. What was your thoughts on round 18 as a whole, not just the time, but as a whole?
Dog shit. Oh, I'll be fair. It was quite interesting. Look, if you're a Tigers, if you're a Dogs, or you're a Dragons fan, then obviously this wasn't the round you wanted to watch. Seeing your team get 50 plus points put on you, but other than that, there were some good games. I mean, Dolphins Broncos was a pretty entertaining game, and Broncos sealing it at the end was all right. Panthers, beating the Storm, even without some of their star players, is good to see. Look, a close game with you boys, Manly and Roosters, and the Raiders and Titans, a close game in that as well. So, look, there was some good games, and then obviously the two big three blowouts. Yeah, look, I thought the round was shit. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get over that 74-0 loss. But other than that, interesting round, and look, keen to see what happens this week.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I've got to have some sort of the same thoughts as what you do. I think that the round itself wasn't great because of all the big results that happened, and there was too many, I guess, one-sided scorelines. I mean, having about how many games was it? 3 games that had over 50 points scored is just ridiculous. So it felt like 2021 at that point, like with all those big scores and stuff. But
I'll give you a stat for you, Lorenzo.
Yep.
Between the bottom 3 teams, the combined score was 196-16.
That much, Jesus Christ. Okay, that's
74, 66, 56 to 16, and because the Tigers and Bulldogs didn't score.
Well, that just sort of shows why those clubs are in the bottom 4 for a reason. Why
you can tell from even say from Newcastle, a team that put 66 on the Dogs.
Yeah, how? I don't understand that.
Only one team above them, right? There's a massive gap between 14th and 17th.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a clog jam between 2 to 4 points between 14th and the top 8. So, but you can tell that there's a mile gap between the bottom 3 teams, so.
There is, yeah. Yeah, well, that's a start I didn't know, actually. But, yeah, as for how that stat goes, I think that shows why those teams are struggling for a reason and why they are, I guess, not clubs that are doing too well. So, yeah, look, disappointing to say the least. But I'll get to you now, Hainsey. What's your thoughts around 18 apart from some, I guess, loss yesterday?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was a really weird round. Yeah, just blowouts. We all saw at the start of the season that this year was going to be the closest year yet, but you can tell now that that's not the case. There's a massive gap between teams, and even teams between like Penrith and the Broncos. No, I wouldn't even say Broncos, but like Penrith to the rest of the competition, it's another level. And I thought 14. I tipped Melbourne to beat Penrith this week, which was at Marvel Stadium. They have in their little bit of the dominant period that Penrith have had, they haven't had to go to Melbourne and play Melbourne. So I thought that would be their really big test here this year. Ticked it off in flying colours. They're like 14-0. You're like, geez. Like, is this the day where this turns it around? But no, Penrith. We saw at the start of the season, at the start of the game, like, these guys, Melbourne, are they the real deal? And then come the end of it, it's like, who's going to stop Penrith this year? Literally, who is going to stop Penrith this year? That's the real concern from the NRL now, is like, who is going to stop Penrith? They're doing it without their halfback, mind you.
Yeah,
they're doing it without their halfback. One of the best players in the last few years is injured.
Also, keep in mind, no Coruscant, no Kikau. They left last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're losing players, but the nursery that Penrith have got. They've got 5 grades that won premierships last year. All 4 to 5 grades last year. SG Ball, Jersey Flag, New South Wales Cup, first grade. They all won it last year. So it's like, we'll pick. Oh no, Kikau goes, Coruscant goes. We'll bring our next hooker that we've got. We'll put him into a champion team. We'll get a second rower. We'll put him up like Scott Sorensen, for example. Scott Sorensen is playing his best year.
Been great.
This is his best year, his breakout year. Scott Sorensen. This is what they do. And next year, Stephen Crichton's going, Spencer Linu's going. You know what they're going to do? They're going to bring 2 people from reserve grade, bring them back up, and they're going to be, the dominant force that they've been the last 4 years. and it's taken a while, but here they are. In terms of the rest of the games, I thought Titans Canberra was a decent game. I thought.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Canberra held on second week in a row. They held on. Broncos Dolphins. I was at that game at the Gabba. Tell you what though, the Gabba. I've been there a few times for AFL and cricket in the off season, and I don't have an issue with rugby league there. It's beautiful. Where I sat behind, I don't know if you guys watched the vlog that came out today, but I sat behind in the corner up the top tier. Perfect view of the ground. The only thing I would say is atmosphere is not as loud than Suncorp, obviously, because you know how far away the ground is. So I mean, all in all, it's a decent game. Cobbo's a freak. That's what I'm going to say about that one. And then the rest of the games, blowouts, and then the Roosters robbed by a Daly Cherry Evans milking of penalty.
Here we go. I mean, if you're going to be that excuse, well, Ben Cummins is normally a Roosters man anyway from history.
Oh, here we go. Are you going to talk about one call about a grand final that the correct call's made?
No, there's other games too. He's been on the Roosters side.
Look, what a 9-3 penalty count, 7-0, 6 again calls. Ben Cummins throws Roosters make a break down the short side with 5 minutes to go. He calls a forward pass with 2 meters backwards. But, and then obviously Daly Cherry Evans. Talking about ball plants this year. The most obvious ball plant. He's trying to get up and make a quick play to ball. Yeah, Nate Butcher was on him, but everyone lays in the ruck. Like every team does it, but he's trying to get a quick play to ball while he's still on the ground. He's putting the ball on the ground to try and play it. It's a ball plant. He just milked the penalty. I'm only kidding, Lorenzo. Mate, you guys, it was a great game of footy. We just couldn't hang on. I was actually proud of the boys yesterday. Especially with the 9 players out. We dug in, you can tell by the boys yesterday that they wanted to win yesterday. But yeah, just a heartbreaking loss. Again, I've said this so many times that a goal kicker does not decide the result. I know that was the difference with Sandon Smith's goal kick in the 5th minute of the game, but I would never blame a goal kicker for a loss. So, I mean, it was the difference, but it is what it is. But well done to you, boys. And but yeah, we'll roll on. Round 23, SCG. I promise you there will be a cricket score on Manly.
Yeah, all right. We'll see what happens. I'll be there, so hopefully we can get another one over.
I will see that. I will be at this one. 100%.
Look, like I said, Roosters were gutsy, I thought, and I knew they weren't going to be easy beats. So, full credit to them for turning up on a bookie that was packed out. So, look, tough loss to take, but they should be all right the next time, hopefully, anyway. But yeah, look, I think I agree with what you both said. The round itself wasn't the best. A few good games in there, but mostly a blowout score lines that just weren't a good reflection about the round it was. It happens, I guess. It does happen, but yeah, I think having all these 50, 60, 70 point score lines just does not look good, in my opinion. Great wins, of course, but just not, I guess, good for the game. But that's that. All right, who's our player of the round for round 18? So there's a few players we can definitely choose from. A lot of standouts, obviously. But if you had to pick one only, who would your player of the round be? I'll start with first, Hainsey. Who's your player of the week?
I'm going to go Scotty Drink Bloke.
Drink Bloke, yeah.
Drink Bloke. It's not Drink Goat, it's Drink Bloke. No, he was phenomenal. Scotty Drink Water. He's starting to get back to that form that we saw last year. So it's good to see. Honorable mentions, obviously, Val Holmes, record break, most points scored in a game by a Cowboys player. Look at it.
He's losing it.
Go on, Hainsey.
Nico Hines was also good for the Sharks. This pains me to admit. DCE was the difference yesterday. If he doesn't play, I think the Roosters put a score on you guys. No offense, but yeah, DCE up there for player of the round as well. Honorable mention to Jackson Hastings as well. He played well yesterday against the Bulldogs. And I'd say that would be pretty much it. Also, Cobbo, what a freak.
No, yeah, Cobbo, yeah. Yeah, Cobbo and a few others, they're all standouts. And for sure, Cobbo's going to get better over time. So, no doubt about that. Champa, in your opinion, who's your player of the week for round 18?
Well, I'm torn between two players, but I'm going to give the player of the week to Isaac Tago. Now, I was torn between him and David Fafita, but I feel like David Fafita, we already give him as much praise as he is. I don't think Tago has been getting enough credit as he should be. This year, he is an absolute freak, and I think his game against the Storm, look, the future is at his feet right now. He has such a big, bright future in the NRL. And I think last week showed his runs were great. When he scored that try, he bumped off someone and he went in for a try. I'm not sure what it was, but look, he was. I reckon out on that edge, he was the massive difference maker, and I think he's been one of Penrith's best outside players. You know, Crichton, To'o obviously have been doing massive for Penrith, but Tago, man, we got to start talking more about Tago. This guy's going to be a centre of the year one day, and look, he'll be representing Samoa. And if he ever wants to have a crack at the Blues, if he keeps up this form, it's in his future. Honestly, it's in his future. Tago is a freak of a player, and I think we saw it on full display. He gets better by the week. He honestly gets better by the week. So that's my play of the week, Isaac Tago. But an honorable mention goes to David Fafita. What a freak he is as well.
Yeah, I like it, bro. I like that. Yeah, I think Tago, as a player, he seems to just be finding his feet week in, week out. And, look, I think if he was eligible, he'd be one of my rookies of the year, I think. But, I think as a player himself, he definitely deserves a bit more credit. I agree. Look, as for me, there's a few players that I can definitely pick as player of the rounds. But, look, I might come off a bit biased here, but I was at the game live and I obviously saw how good he played. I think DCE will be my player of the week, and I can see Haynes is already about to lose it as well. But I think, I think you can pick a few people, but I'll go DCE just because he is the best 34-year-old in comp going around. He's still playing like in his prime, and
is he the oldest player in the comp?
I think it's between him and James Tarmo and Ben Hunt, I think. Yeah, I think so. But like the way he's playing at the moment, it's football that we know how good he can be. And I think this year he's so far halfback of the year, I feel like. I don't know who else comes close. I mean, there's a few, but I think this year was a standout in yesterday's win. So I'll go with him, play it safe. Just before we go into the topics and look in the comments. Nick has a question for you, Champa. He says, would you have picked Tago over Best for Origin?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, look, we'll get into Best soon, but just real quickly, I would have chose Tago over Best. I would have chose a bunch of centers over Best. I would have chose Garrick over Best. I would have chose Staggs over Best. I would have chose Colloway over Best. There's so many players I would have chosen over Best, but we'll get into that very soon. Just know, yes, I would have.
Yep, fair call. And lastly, Liam asks us what do you make of Clint Gutherson in the New South Wales team? Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Look, as the utility player, I think it's great. I don't know where he is going to fit in that side. Whether they want to, say, if Teddy's just having a shocker, bring him off, throw Guther in Guther in fullback, or if they want to throw him in the centres. He was already exposed last time he played in the centres, so I don't know whether they want to try. Yeah, look, like we said, we'll get into the team very soon, but look, I think it's deserving. Gutherson does deserve a spot, but I think we will get to that very soon.
Yeah, these are things we're going to talk about in one of the topics very soon, so we'll keep it quiet for now. But a lot of Origin talk will come by, so we're about to get into it right now. So let me get rid of this comment just quickly if I can. Hopefully I can. Just 1 second. All right. All right, there we go. All right, on to topic number 1. So, obviously, both today, the Maroons and the Blues released their teams for Game 3. So, obviously, for the Blues, it doesn't mean much because we've already lost a series for this year, so may as well call it a dead rubber game. But, yeah, we've named our team the same as Queensland. And, yeah, look, the first impression I had, Queensland looked very settled. And, obviously, that's because they haven't really lost the game. Well, haven't lost the game at all during this series. And they look like they're very well calm and collected about what they're going to do. But as for New South Wales, yeah, whatever Freddie's doing, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if I have a clear idea what he's trying to do with the team. Like, I get you need to make some changes, but I don't know if they're changes that I think would benefit the team. That's just me anyway. Hainsey, I'll start with you first. When you saw both teams, what were some things you took note of and what you liked and disliked?
Well, Queensland, a few changes, but there aren't forced changes that that was out of their control. Obviously, Reece was suspended, and injuries and all that kind of stuff. So AJ Brimson in at fullback. He's been in the camp all year. Ponga, he ruled himself out for the series, even though Billy did send him an SOS for Game 3. He said no, I want to focus on Newcastle. So he's got the nod there. AJ Brimson. Corey Hawkesbury is on debut. He's been in the camp as well. Obviously, good selection there. He's been good over the last few weeks. Not really much. One change I've noticed from Queensland that they've swapped positions. Harry Grant starting at 9 and Ben Hunt at 14. Back is unchanged. I'm surprised they went Xavier Coates over Cobbo. Cobbo was scored 2 tries. Could have been the difference in Game 1. But he stick with Xavier Coates. He played well in Game 2. Pretty much that's it from the Queensland point of view. Pretty much the same team. Jermaine Hopgood, 18th, 19th man. So, I mean, it's still a reasonable team for Queensland. If you look at the Blues, well, there's some interesting selections again, but I don't really mind them, to be honest. Obviously, Tedesco fullback, Bizza, Critter, Bradman Best. I mean, where did this come from? But I understand he's in form after scoring 3 tries yesterday. He's actually had a decent season for Newcastle, especially after the bye. After the bye, when he went to Bali to get his tattoo, he's been a different player. And I think he's in a little bit of career best form, Bradman Best. So, we are limited on selections for the centre position, like Latrell's injured, Turbo injured, Campbell Graham injured, Birdo's out of form, Talakai, I don't know why he's even played one game of Origin, but Bradman Best, I don't mind it. Fox, I've got my issues with Fox. Can't defend.
Same.
Simple.
Yep. 100%.
And I know this is gonna have the Roosters bias in it, but I think Daniel Tupou should be in there over Josh Adokar.
It's a good shout.
Tupou. And this is the thing that it annoys me. Every time New South Wales lose a series, like last year and 2020, the blame's on Tupou. Last year is like, we should have had Josh Adokar in there. Josh Adokar should have been a winger. Daniel Tupou's a spartle, rah, rah, rah. But Fox this year has been in his worst career form at the Dogs. Can't defend. I've been saying that for how long? He can't defend. All he's got is speed. So, and Tupou, he's safe under the high ball. I want to give you some numbers yesterday when he played Manly. He ran for 197 metres, 75 post-contact metres. He was phenomenal. And you look at the Roosters, how we start our sets. It's off the back of him. Josh Adokar can't do that for the Blues. Bizza can, Tupou can. Tupou is, for me, a far better winger than Josh Adokar. But that's just my opinion. Cody Walker at 6. I've got mixed feelings about Cody Walker. When he's played big games, he cracks under pressure. Origin in 2020, perfect example. Every time he plays the Roosters and the Roosters starting to get on top, he's that guy that's looking to try and find the biggest bloke out there. But there's no denying how good of a player he is. When he's switched on, and he can be one of the most damaging ball running 5'8" in the comp. So
Absolutely.
So hope and it's an audition for Cody Walker. It's an opportunity for him to own the 6th jersey. If he goes out next Wednesday, New South Wales get the job done. Freddie will go to Cody Walker. That's your jersey. So it's an opportunity there. Mitchell Moses gets another crack. It's great to see Jake Trbojevic back in there. Damien Cook. Yeah. Like you can tell yesterday, Jake Trbojevic.
Heart and soul.
A different team Manly are when Jake Trbojevic is in the team, and he took it to the Roosters pack yesterday. I mean, to be fair, I thought the Roosters had dominated the middle more than you guys, but he was there, just a workhorse, Jake Trbojevic. Regan Gamble-Gillard got snubbed from game. He got dropped after game 1 last year. He's back there. Liam Martin, Keon Kalonamatangi. Now, he's been in good form for South, so I don't mind there. I wish him all the best. Cameron Murray at lock. I like this. I mean, I think Tedesco and Murray can really work through the middle well. Cody Walker as well. That's basically, I count the 13 as a spine, in my opinion. You have a spine of Cameron Murray that sets up. Hooker, Damien Cook, Cody Walker, sweep out the back Tedesco. I mean, it's not bad. And then the bench, Saifidi, Reece Robson, Clint Gutherson. That's where it goes wrong for New South Wales for me. Zayo, I don't know what he's going to be like as a bench player.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't mind Jacob Saifidi. Like, I don't mind the Saifidi brothers. So I think that's okay selection. Reece Robson. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong in game 1, but why do we have a hooker and a fullback on the bench? I do not understand.
Yuck.
We have a replacement player in Spencer Linu, and Spencer Linu is one of the most damaging ball running forwards in the comp. I'd have him in over Cliff Robinson. And then Scotty Drinkwater on the bench with All in all, I think it's best of what we've got available. So, I mean, I do like that we've got some decent changes in there. Give the young fellas a crack. And then what I don't like is our bench, I'd say. Our bench is a little bit confusing. What we're going to rotate with one front rower throughout the whole game and one lock.
Won't work. No, it won't work.
It won't work. And I understand. I understand what Freddie's trying to do with Gutherson there because he's thinking if an outside back goes down, we've got a fullback who can play centre because he's done it before in Origin instead of having Damien Cook out there again. I understand what he's doing, but no offense to Manly fans and you, Lorenzo, but Turbo gets injured all the time. I'm sorry to say it, and I hate that happens, but you can't deny it. Turbo got injured in both State of Origin games this year.
Yeah, unlucky though.
It is very unlucky, but it'll be very unlikely to see either Crichton or Bradman Best go down. I mean, I said it after the Origin game, and I do apologise for going on and on here. I feel like I'm taking forever, but
you're right.
There's one thing I wanted to in the AFL. I don't know if you guys watch AFL, but they have a medical sub.
Yeah,
when do the NRL have a medical sub?
Technically, it's the 18th man.
Yeah, but that's for concussion.
Yeah,
the AFL have an actual medical sub. If someone goes down with an injury, they can sub him out of the game, and they bring on a medical sub into the game. Why can't the NRL do that?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's annoying though that maybe for Origins, I mean NRL we can live with that, but Origin, New South Wales charge basically ended when Turbo done his peck in the opening minute of the Origin game, and then New South Wales was scrambling ever since. So like why can't we have we bring on a medical sub that either you have an 18th or 19th man, you have a forward and a back. It just it levels it back out again. But I mean, it's all hard to it's all hard. But yeah, look, no, all in all, it's a decent side. Hopefully, I'd love to see Spencer Lenu debut next week.
Yeah. Look, I think the team itself is interesting from the Blues' sake point of view, but all we can hope for is it works out. But I'm not too sure. Champa, what's your thoughts on both sides, bro?
Look, not much changes in the Maroons, so I won't stay with them too long. AJ Brimson, look, with Walsh suspended and Ponga ruling himself out, I reckon AJ Brimson was the next best option. Look, he's a talented player, so I'm sure he'll do just fine. And really, and Corey Horsburgh. Long overdue his debut. Long overdue. He is a workhorse and enforcer, and I feel like him in the Maroons is it's something that should have happened a long time ago. But the real talking point is the Blues, because obviously we've lost the series, so we're just trying to avoid a clean sweep. I don't think I don't know how Freddie's intentions to avoid a clean sweep. I don't know if this is the team that's going to do that. Honestly, I mean, look, let's just look. We're addressing the elephant in the room, which is Bradman Best. All right.
Yeah.
Him getting picked for center, his debut match. It's a shock. And when I heard rumors, I thought it was just that rumors. I thought it was a joke. Nothing against Bradman Best. He's a talented player, but I actually thought it was a joke, seeing his name selected in the squad. Then I looked at the team list. I'm like, oh my God, he's actually selected. Are we really going off that one Bulldogs match to have him selected into the team?
Yeah, that's what I feel like, yeah.
Because, look, I don't know if I've been living under a rock, but look, he's a talented player, but to say he's Origin level, worthy, his form is Origin level,
not yet.
Unless I haven't been watching closely at Newcastle games. I mean, yes, he's been one of their best, but how did someone like a Tony Staggs not get looked at for center?
Yeah, good call.
With the form he's in right now, how did he not get looked at for center? He's one of the best attacking players in the NRL, in center, and what to be best over Staggs? I don't agree with it one bit. Now we can move on to Walker. Look, he's a talented player. Obviously, I wouldn't. I like Luai as a player. I personally wouldn't have dropped him. Look, game one, I feel like he was solid. Game two, a little bit quiet, but definitely wasn't our worst. To say that he's been dropped, would you really drop Luai? Would you really keep Adokar and drop Luai? I mean, come
Yeah.
on. I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that one bit. Look, if they want to walk in the team, I could see Walker as a great jersey 14. Or you can swap it around and have Luai start. I don't think Luai's form this year in club footy and in Origin was worthy of him getting dropped.
But the question is, though, Champa, we saw how good he was on Friday night against Melbourne. But what is the issue in the Origin arena with him? Why can't he get it done for New South Wales like he can at Penrith on a number of occasions?
That's true.
Well, to say that he can't get it done, look, I think that may be a little bit harsh, because I'm not. Do you really think he was one of our worst players this season or this series?
No, he was arguably one of their best players in game one.
He was. Yeah. Then why would you drop him? Why would Freddie drop him?
Maybe it's how he acted after game two. Going out and headbutting Reece Walsh, and and going out saying, "All you idiots have work tomorrow." There's a bad look for New South Welshman. This is a guy who is representing our state and is going out and calling us out. I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't offended.
I think he
couldn't
already
really care.
Look, I think he already confirmed that was to the death threats he was getting, and not towards.
Yeah, obviously that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I don't know. Maybe.
I can understand what you're saying. Look, I understand what you're saying. You know, him at the Panthers, he's top tier. Then he goes to the Blues, and he's hot and cold. I understand that, you know, but I don't think his form was worthy of him getting dropped. And I think this is where we just have to put trust in some of our players. Like, there's so many players surrounding him that I would have dropped over Luai. We just got to put faith in him. You know, he is in one of our crucial positions. I believe he can get it. I believe. Look, he has proven for us that he can win us a series. We've seen 2021. I'm pretty sure that was his debut year for the Blues.
Yeah, in Origin,
2021. Yeah, his debut year, and look, he played stellar that game. So I believe he can win us a premiership. I mean, not premiership. He can win us a Origin series. It's just this year, I'm pointing the fingers at a lot more other players than Norway.
Yeah.
Quickly skim over the forward pack. It looks great. RCG coming into the side. I think he should have been there a long time ago. No Haas, which is going to be damaging, but we do get Jake Dvorovich, one of the best defenders in the comp, which is great. Keelan Kong-Matangi, I like him. Personally, would have Ola Kawaitu in that position. Defense was our real big issue, especially in the middle pack, and Ola Kawaitu's defense is top level, better than Kong-Matangi. So overall, still good. Martin inside, great defender. Murray, starting position, really good. He should have got more minutes in game 2. Then the bench. Again, a big talking point. Jacob Saifiti and Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo doesn't really strike me as he's a captain. He's not a bench player, but I guess this is a sort of chance for him to sort of refresh himself. Jacob Saifiti, talented player. Robson and Gutherson. I don't agree with it one bit. Unless they're going to put Robson at lock or second row and have Gutherson be in that utility play for the backs. I'm not too sure what's happening there, or if Cook can't play 80 minutes. But look, we're chalking up a lot of time on this first topic, so I'll just keep it brief right here.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it one. Yeah, I don't agree with it one bit. But look, we don't really have much options. I just hope this team stands up and avoids a clean sweep.
Oh, look, yeah. I think we've spent enough time on this topic. But all I'll say is I just hope these changes work out well, even though we're not going to win the series. But I don't agree with what Freddie's done. I think his strategies are a bit dead, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm not a fan personally. All right, on to topic number 2. And just a quick yes and no for this one. If the Blues do get the clean sweep, and if Queensland do end up being 3-0, does Brad Fittler deserve the sack? Because I know that there's not many options to replace him out there. But if we do go 3-0, does Freddie deserve the sack? Hainsey, yes or no? Does he deserve the sack if that happens?
I'd say no. You got to take into consideration what's happened this year and over the last 2 series. To be fair, Latrell's been out the whole series. He got ruled out in both games, and he's not playing game 3. That's a big blow. Like, he's an impact player. And then after game 1, we lose our halfback to a hamstring injury, and we lose our hooker who started in game 1 to a broken jaw. And he had to fiddle with the side. It's hard. Like, Queensland haven't had any of these. I mean, I know, Billy Slater outplayed Freddie in the last 2 series, but it's tough. It's tough. I'd say no. He deserves another year. If he loses another year, I think that's when we got maybe what we could do is keep him on for another year and find someone else in this meantime behind closed doors. Look around and see what we can find as a Blues coach, and then hopefully in maybe 2025, we get him straight in 2025. So maybe one more year for Freddie, and be prepared to find someone else in that time behind closed doors that no one knows about. Just keep an eye out on who could possibly be a good replacement for him.
So you reckon Freddie's like the master, and then there's like an apprentice coach that comes by and replaces him in the future?
Yeah, if you look with Freddie before he joined the Blues, he was in the pathways, under 19s, under 21s, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he bring these players up like the Nathan Clearys, I think Zach Lomax, Jack DeBellin, all those kind of guys were in and around the Blues under 19s, under 20s, and then I think and then even in you've seen in series before, he's bringing young fellas in the camp. So like if you're playing in a bye that weekend, I'll talk about the last year. I think game 2, Freddie bring in Victor Radley and Joseph Suoliti. Now, they were never going to play, but there was a massive uproar. Like, oh, why is Victor Radley? Why is Suoliti? But it was actually to get him experience into the camp.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And get him into that culture. He likes doing that. So maybe we can get like for example, Jeff Tuvey. He's in the Blues system now. He's doing the same stuff. He's coached in the NRL, New South Wales Blues in the women's origin. So he's been around those systems. You know, get him up the scratch, get him around, get the plays that he wants as an emerger. And another thing that we want to, another thing we need to do is we need to bring back City Country.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Need to bring back City Country. Probables, and it would have been good for Freddie, especially at the start of the season, or maybe at the start of the season during the pre-season challenge that everyone's freaking talking about. Let's get or possible v probables. Let's get for example, Luai v Cleary, Luai and Cleary v Hines and Moses, or Luai or Walker or Moses. Get these combinations in the games first before going game 2 and go, oh shit, where do we go?
Look, I don't know, bro. I think there's a lot of things that to consider here, but hopefully Freddie somehow works it out. Champa, does he deserve the sack, yes or no?
Look, I think his game was decided in game 2. Putting Cook in the centres, and with some of the selections, look, I think his bias does get in the way a lot. I know, look, Hainsey brings up a good point. A lot of our star players were injured, but then again, picking someone like Best and then someone like Hudson Young over some other star quality players like Ola Kawaitu, Kutani Staggs, and then Kalong Matangi only getting the start now. RCG only getting a call up now. It's just, I think the time when Fiddler is done. He's lost 3 out of the last 4, and I think it's time we look towards the future because we need to start winning Origins. Queensland has been dominating too much, and we keep saying look towards the future, look towards the future. We've said that so many times, and yet we're still in the same position as where we were in the drought. We're not winning. I think it's time for Fiddler to move on. We need to bring passion back into the squad. So I'm giving the axe on Fiddler.
Just like that. Wow, very, very interesting. Yeah, look, I'm the same. I think Freddie, in my opinion, has lost it. I know there's injuries for the Blues that he can't control, but I just feel like with someone like Freddie, I think he, as the coach, has the power to pick players in the right positions and put the best squad together. So I do feel like that comes down to him. I know it's not all his fault, but I'd say most of it is, and I think he's the guy that will fall on his sword. So Freddie, for me, will get sacked as well, in my opinion, and deserves it.
The thing that's frustrating for a New South Wales fan, that we were literally 10 minutes away from winning game 1.
I know.
These conversations aren't even talked about if we win fucking game 1. If Turbo doesn't get knocked out by Thomas Flegler, Nico Hines, I'm not blaming anyone, but if Nico Hines makes a tackle, Tedesco doesn't slip over, we fucking win game 1, and we're talking about game 3 as Cider in Sydney, but now, because Queensland pulled their finger out and fucking decided to win game 1 out of nowhere and beat us in game 2, all these conversations about Freddie's getting brought up. If only we would have won game 1, which we're 8 minutes away from doing.
Yeah,
it just
gets
to me that this conversation isn't happening. We would have won game 1.
Look, I guess we'll never know, but we'll see what happens. But on to topic number 3, and this is some, I guess, big news regarding Dylan Brown. Now, obviously, we know what he did, and his incident has been carried on to a suspension of 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
And also a $40,000 fine as well. So that's huge. I think that's a huge consequence for Brown to take. But you know what? He's bringing the game into disrepute. So I think that's fair enough, in my opinion. Champa, what's your thoughts on this suspension and what Brown's copped? You reckon's fair?
I think it's fair. Look, honestly, I thought Brown was innocent until he confessed guilty to everything that he was charged on. So
Yeah.
yeah, look, props to him for coming clean. And showing remorse to what he's done. But look, you did a crime, you did the time, you got to pay up. All right. So 7 weeks. I think it's a fair suspension. A 40K fine. A big hole in his pocket. So look,
Mhm.
this team will learn from this, and I'm sure NRL players will take note of this and make sure to be on their best behavior when they're off the field and don't put themselves in situations where something like this can happen. Because I still don't believe it's entirely his fault. Uh, Maybe it's something very controversial to say on air, but I still don't believe this is all entirely his fault. But something like this could have been avoided if he just was thinking straight. So I think it's a fair enough fine. And look, I'm sure he'll come back strong. And look, he'll be
He
back
should.
just in time for finals. If Para do make the finals, he'll be back just in time. So it's good that he admitted it, and I think it's a fair enough punishment.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is what it is. He has to take it on the chin now and go along with it, I guess. Hainsey, do you reckon this is a fair punishment for Dylan Brown going forward?
Yeah, I think so. I you know, it's not nice to see a player be suspended for that. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's done the wrong thing. I think at the end of the day, yeah, fair call. It's nothing major. I think 7 is fine. I'm pretty sure Mitchell Pearce got what 8 weeks for like something I don't want to bring up again, but like
Yeah, his
Just don't
situation.
say it.
I'm not saying it because it's disgusting, and there's probably young kids out here who are watching the channel. But nah, look, look, I think it's a fair punishment. 7 weeks. It's not season ending for Para, so he can come back round 20 odd. So I mean, he'll have a long think about himself. You know, I think it's a good thing that they've fined that they've suspended the player, not the club, not fined the player, not the club. So I mean, at the end of the day, that it hurts Para. That it costs consequence. They're 5-8 out for 7 weeks, but I think the fair punishment's made. You can't. And it's you got to type. You got to as a professional athlete these days. You've got to you got to walk the tightrope. You got to you've got to be on a fine line. If you go across the line, you're going to be dealt with, and you're going to be criticized for it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, 7 weeks. But yeah, again, putting the game in dispute, I think it's fair enough, and he'll come back as a better person after this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I hope so anyway. I think Brown is a talented player and is one of the best 5'8s in the comp. So hopefully, by the time he does return to the game, he's I guess, changed player and, could kill it if he goes well and things a bit better. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, as for how I think of it, it's a fair enough suspension and fine. I think, like as Champa said, I think players have a big responsible duty to be a good role model out there in the public, away from the field, and obviously, what Brown's done, he's done the exact opposite. So got to learn from that, and hopefully he comes back better, as I said. All right, on to topic number 4 now, and this is some really big news. And I was reading this on the way to Manly Roosters on the bus, and I was like, no way this is true, because I just did not believe it at first. And now with I guess Holbrook being sacked by the Titans, it's caused some I guess some not issues, but it's caused some interest around the team, because now Dave Fafita and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui are both apparently free agents. So them two, I guess, can negotiate with other clubs and can I guess talk about contracts in the future and stuff like that. But it's huge news, especially with these two being one of their best, probably their best players in the club, if I'm being honest, free agents. Hainsey, what's your thoughts on this one? Do you see them leaving at all?
I'd probably say no. I can't see Tino leaving, or Fafita. Like, I think it might be a little bit of a spin from the media. I'm pretty sure. Like, I think they would have had this planned when the Titans lost to the Broncos last week, but they actually won, so they had something else to think about. But then now the Titans have lost, and they bring that to bring this back into the light. But I mean, it's probably true that he is a free agent, but I don't think I can see him leaving. Clubs he might. I think for Fifita especially, he's on big money. He might go to the Canberra and go, hey, how much do you want? And then go back to the Titans and say this is how much they're offering. You need half that. You got to match that, or I'm going to Canberra. So I think it might be a bit of a play from the managers, the agents, to say, hey, we need, we want to look around and see what we're worth, and then you got to come back with a reasonable offer. So that might be what's going to happen here. So I can't see them leaving, especially Tino. I think Tino as a club captain, he's been given the keys at a young age. What was he, 22? I'm pretty sure he went to the
Early
from
20s,
Melbourne.
yeah.
Yeah, he went from Melbourne at 20. So or he was captain at 20. He's a really, really young forward, and I think he's happy on the Gold Coast. From what I'm hearing, what we see all the time, that the team as a unit, there is I think as a unit, they're a really tight group. They're a good relationship. It's a nice place to live on the Gold Coast. Let's be fair; it's a great place to live. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Look, I can't see them leaving the Gold Coast anytime soon.
Yeah, no, all certain. I think it's hard to imagine that, but I guess we never know. Champa, do you ever see David Fifita and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui leaving Gold Coast anytime soon?
Well, it's good that we're talking about David Fifita, because what I was watching on NRL 360 before we came on air is that the Raiders have offered a $4 million deal to David Fifita.
Holy smokes! Wow.
Is he really worth much though?
Oh, well, if you would have watched that game against Raiders, I reckon Raiders had a look at David Fifita and thought, you know what? He played so good against us. I want him in our team. I'm pretty sure that's going to be like a 4-year deal or something like that. But yeah, I saw it. I'm like, holy fuck! Must be freeing up their cap massively. But look,
can you tell the difference on how? Yeah, sorry. Can you tell how good Fifita's been this year since Kieran Foran's come to the club? It's basically rebirthed David Fifita.
I knew that happened.
So obviously Foran's not going to play forever, So maybe, but if he goes to another club, you need a decent half for him to get. Because you look at last year, I can't remember how many 5'8" and halves the Titans had last year. Just wasn't working. But now this year they've got Foran and they've got Tanner Boyd. Is that? I can't remember.
The Sexton too.
Yeah. So you got those guys there. He's linked up with Fifita well, and Fifita's getting good ball. He's been damaging. So if you go on the Raiders, they're losing their 5'8" Jack White, and so there's cash to burn, but I don't know. There's unsettled at the Raiders with their 5'8" next year, so I think that's the reason why I reckon he'll stay put, because decent half. He's continue.
Well, look, if the Titans are being fair dinkum about themselves after just sacking Holbrook, they got to keep Fifita and Tino. I mean, that's a big brain explosion if they let those two go, especially in the form they're in right now. No way. And look, teams if this news doesn't if they don't sort out contracts soon for these players, teams are going to start jumping at them left, right, and center. With Raiders right now already offering a $4 million deal, I could see someone like the Dolphins. They need some more strength in their forward pack, and Tina and Fifita will fit in just fine. Brisbane could even, to strengthen their empire they're building up right now.
Imagine they bring back David Fifita. That'd be so fucking good.
Well, look, they're already going to bring. They're that close to bringing back Ben Hunt. Why not bring back Fifita as well?
Yeah, true.
The Titans need to take care of this. Titans need to take care of this really soon. Titans need to take.
So funny.
Titans need to take care of this very, very soon. If they want if they want to continue being that top 8 threat, which look, I still think they're contenders, they need to secure these 2 players.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree. I think the Titans have to prioritise these two. As I said before, these two are like the best players at the club, and I think it's important that they keep them going forward long term as well. Because the Titans want to win a premiership with Des Hasler as their coach, so you got to keep the best players there. So if any hope, they'll keep these two. But I don't know. They're not any hope anyway.
I don't know just yet. But man, finals push definitely, but like premierships are still a little bit far away. They need it. They need some. I don't know. What are they missing? What do you think? What do you think they're missing? The Titans from being apart from that, like
halves.
Halves.
They need a decent spine.
Yeah.
A decent spine is what they're missing.
Yeah, you look at them. They've got a forward pack. They've got a Queensland representative in Fonawaker, Semi Verrills premiership winner, Isaac Liu, who's an international rep and he's premiership winner, Dave Fafita, international origin rep. Bo Fermore's been injured, so that's been tough. He was solid last year, so they guess it. Then Tino. Yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting because they got AJ. Yeah, look, he's okay. Foreign, he's a premiership winner and he's a Kiwi international. So like, and then Tanner Boyd's finding himself, so I'm going to give him a bit of time.
Legs, though.
Yeah, so I don't know.
They need to build a future. They need to build a future. You can't build a future around Foreign, who's on his last leg.
And then they're going to replace Foreign with Ben Hunt
this year or next.
Yeah,
but that's if they do get Ben Hunt.
Yeah, that's it too. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think it's clear to say and fair to say that the Titans need to keep both Fafita and Fa'asuamaleaui. I think if you lose them, then they could be going backwards in a bad way. So got to re-sign them both ASAP. Now on to the last topic of the show, and this sort of ends with something very close to Champa's heart because it is the Tigers and it is about some really, I guess, tough decisions about the club and what has to happen going forward. So that 74-0 result, I know you don't want to hit it, Champa, but there was some talk after the game that apparently they might get rid of Sheens and might make Marshall that full-time coach already, either by next year or just starting now. So I don't know. That's an interesting call because I think Benji needs his time, and I think he will be a good coach one day. But I think Tigers need to respect he needs his time to really have a good squad and a squad he wants to have because I think he's working with players he may not be too keen on having going forward. But Champa, as a Tigers fan, the floor is yours, mate. What's your thoughts on this one?
Look, the 74-0 loss really was an eye-opener for not only Tigers fans, but a lot of fans. Tim Sheens, a bloke who took a close to a 10-year break from the NRL after losing 3 jobs in England. Obviously, I don't think he still hasn't gone over his old partner in crime. Was his name Warren McDonald or something like that?
Yeah.
To Scott Fulton. I don't think he obviously still hasn't gotten that. And a lot of people can say his style of footy is very outdated and outplayed, while Benji can bring a lot of like fresh sort of a fresh style, a sort of a modern style to the team. If I'm going to give you a yes or no answer on should the Tigers somehow sack Sheens, I'm going to say yes. Now I'm not like we again go back into the circle of sacking coaches and bringing coaches only to sack them again. But Sheens, he was supposed to be a sort of like a mentor to. Well, I want to say Benji Marshall and Robbie Farrell like Tim Sheens' apprentice when it comes to coaching, but
I agree.
I don't think this is the sort of example you want to give Marshall and Farrell, who are going to be our new coaches. I don't think this is not who you should be learning off. Yeah, I'm sure Sheens can teach them a lot in terms of how to talk to players properly, how to run a team, how to sort of direct everything around. But if this is the performance he's going to be given to Sheens and Farrell and say, look, we just got beaten 74-0. What can you learn off that? God. The future doesn't look good for us. And I've always said Marshall needs to take more control over the team. I don't understand how we're going to let someone like Sheens build our future when he's not going to be there, and we don't even know by next year. It should be Marshall building our future. I think Marshall and Farron needs to take more control over the team. Sheens' time is done. We need to look towards the future. I know it's so early to say he just got the role, but we all knew he was only going to be here just to give experience to Marshall and Farah. But look, if Sheens isn't going to get over his friend getting sacked, that's just poor. That's just poor professionalism right there. I think we need Marshall now. Either you keep Sheens as the main coach, and have Marshall get more control over the team. Because I don't know if it's true the reports of Sheens and Marshall butting heads. I think there might be a bit of. I think that's just the media rubbing salt into the Tigers' wound. We're already down. They're trying to kick us further with this fake news, but I do think Marshall needs more control of the team, and I do think that Sheens, if he doesn't end the season off good, we look towards the future and we bring Marshall in early.
Yeah, as a Tigers fan, I respect that because I think, I think Benji's your future, and I think he's, needs his time to build a good squad. So I agree. I think he is that guy that needs that more control and that support. Now, there's some breaking news, and CJ has revealed this one in the live chat. The Bulldogs have signed Toby Sexton, apparently. Okay, that's very interesting. We're just talking about the Titans halves as well. So Sexton's now gone. So this was a rumor that was going since the weekend, I think. So now he's signed, and the Dogs have the man that were targeting. So okay, interesting, very interesting.
Toby Sexton's better halfback than Kyle Flanagan. Let's face it.
You know what? I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Hainsey, what's your thoughts on this one? So do you reckon Tim Sheens should go now and promote Benji straight away, or do you think there's another way to get through this?
I think just finish the year out, in my opinion. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, he's not, but he's literally, Tim Sheens is the DNA of the West Tigers. Like, if you remember, he brought that team from the ground up in 2000, or inaugural premiership in 05. He had a good period there, but it's a bit of a rebuild for the Tigers, especially they've got a good nursery of juniors out there at Concord and at Campbelltown. So, and they're transitioning into the first grade team. They've shown like Buller, he's a Western junior. I think Wakeham's from Canterbury though, but like they've had some good juniors out there. I think it's starting to come together. And we've seen that in periods this year. The win against Penrith, the win against the Dragons, and then obviously the 66-18 against the Cowboys. That's the end product of what Tim Sheens wants to do. And yeah, look, it's been tough this year with injuries. They've lost Luke Brooks, they've lost Abby Coruscant, they've lost Adam Dewey, Brett Naden, Charlie Staines. There is a formula there working, but yeah, I don't know what happened on Saturday night, and that's I think that's the first time all season the West Tigers got absolutely carved up. So, look, it's tough. What I can see that Tim Sheens doesn't do much. It's all Robbie Farah and Benji Marshall. It's really tough, and I don't know all the ins and outs about the Tigers. So, I'd just say give him the year, and then get Benji and Robbie the whole preseason to work it out, and then go from there. I guess.
Look,
Yeah. No. Look,
I just want to add real quickly. I just want to add real quickly. A lot of people do mention, how Tim Sheens, he was the one that said that like build the Tigers from nothing back in 2005. 2005 was 18 years ago.
Different,
long time. Yeah, games have changed massively. So, and this is why I don't think Tim Sheens' style of footy is really what's happening. Is really style of footy that is dominated in the NRL right now. I mean, we can see it in Origin with Brad Fittler and Billy Slater. Billy Slater brings a modern style to the Origin
Right.
series instead of Freddie Fittler's typical hands onto the edge. Fittler's bringing a fresh, different style to the Maroons, and look, they've won the series 2 years in a row as him as coach. I think we need to really look at our style of footy, and we need to play more like the other team. We need a modern refresh. But yeah, that's my opinion. Probably so.
Yeah. No, look, well said, guys. I think that the Tigers are in shambles, as we know. But I think, look, I have a feeling about this for a while now. I think Tim Sheen's is stale, in my opinion. I don't think he's a modern day coach. I hate to say it, but he's a bit like Des Hasler. I feel like he's not all there. He's not a modern day coach. I think them both are dinosaurs that lived in the past from like 10 years ago and stuff. And I don't think what Tim Sheens has succeeded in the past with it reflects to now. New game, new structure and style of way the game's played and set up now. So I think Tim Sheens is I think he's a bit of a disease. So I think the sooner he goes, the better for the Tigers. But honestly, for Benji Marshall, I think he is a good coach coming up. I really do rate him. I think he, with a good roster that he wants, will get results, I reckon. But it's gonna take time, I think. And I think with Benji, coaching right now is not ideal. So I wouldn't promote him now. Next year, maybe, give him that off season to really prepare well and make some changes that he wants. But look, all I say is the sooner Sheens goes, the better. I think he's a waste of space. But hopefully the Tigers do go on the up soon because it's about time they get some better luck. But we'll see what happens. But everyone, that brings an end to a good and successful podcast for episode 63 of the Ankle Breaker podcast. It was a good show, and I enjoyed what we talked about tonight. So, all that Champa and Hainsey, thank you so much for coming on the channel yet again, and it's a good podcast, boys.
Pleasure, mate. Anytime.
Thanks for having me on, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. No worries. And please go and subscribe to both YouTube channels right now, both linked in the description down below, and subscribe to this one as well if you haven't already. But until then, see you next week for episode 64, and have a good weekend and good luck to your teams this weekend if you're playing.